scotches. You can go with ports and cordials. Some cordials are great. So what I have out here, two ranges of scotches. One, Highland Park from the Orkney Islands, known for what they do with the malting of the grain. So the ingredients is what they're really into. Talisker 18 years of age. This is from Isle of Skye, so it picks up a little bit of smokiness. The smokiness comes from the peat bogs. They cut out bricks of peat that go underneath the fires that roast the grains. And that interaction from the peat smoke is what gives the scotch either smokiness or not. So if they isolate it from that fire, then it's a non-smoky scotch. If they let it kind of draft in, then you get the smoke. So one of my favorites, this is a fun one. This is a 23-year-old barrel-aged rum from Guatemala, from Ron Zapata. So you have something that's rich, you know, not very sweet, but it's got a nice richness to it. Then this is a very small house cognac. You know, everyone knows Courvoisier, Hennessy, all the big names. This is Delamain. So what happens when you get smaller producers? You have people that are in charge of everything from the grapes all the way up to the production of the cognac. So there's a lot of vested, you know, in the product that they put out. And
where's that from?
Just the inner Cognac region in France.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
How interesting. That must be a family name then.
So to counter that, we have a gentleman that I guess you could say defected from that cognac group, and from the Pacific Northwest. Pardon me, I have to look again. I'm sorry. Northern California, Ukiah, California. Jermaine Robin is a gentleman that makes super high-level cognacs here in the United States. Ages them for a very long time. And the beauty of being in the United States is you're not strapped down by the French laws of only using certain grapes to make it. So he will get the best Pinot Noir grapes he can and make a cognac out of it. He'll do it with Cabernets, he'll do it with all sorts of different grapes. So that freedom of expression is what drew him to the United States. So that's a very beautiful, very much richer style of cognac.
How did you discover that?
Just searching, you know.
Oh my gosh.
You just look around, keep your ears open. So typically cognac is more of a dry style, very linear. This cognac is a little bit richer and sweeter in style. So a few wonderful cordials. Grand Marnier cognac based. Then it's infused with very aromatic orange, like dried orange peel. Gives it a lot of scent and flavor. They have three levels. This is the middle level called the Cuvée Centenaire. It's to commemorate their 100th year of production. With the three levels, it's neat to try them all because as you go up in level, you get less orange flavor and more cognac flavor. The first one that everyone knows with the big red cordon rouge on it is very orangey. You know, it's very fruity. But as you go up, you get a little bit more refined taste. Harold from Scotland, Drambuie. So very simply, this is a honey scotch cordial. Over ice, it's quite delicious. Kind of a lost liquor that made the rusty nails.
Probably in the 60s.
And very underrated, very undiscovered, I think.
Yeah, I think it's great. It's a combination of both worlds, sweet and scotch.
It's great when you have cold too.
Drambuie honey and
just Drambuie.
Just Drambuie.
Exactly.
All right.
Yeah. Forget the honey.
Last one. This is from the same family that makes the Grand Marnier. This is called Nevant. So you have French cognac that's infused with vanilla from Madagascar. Really beautiful, a little bit sweet. So it's a nice kind of entry level, you know, getting into cognac. It doesn't knock you on your socks. So that's another fun one.
That is spectacular.
And always in season, from hour and a half south of here, Saratoga, water. So we
like
can
that.
mix any of these either neat or on the rocks or with a single ice cube, and then you've got some water to back it up. Little note on that single ice cube thing. Old Scotsman told me, and I didn't understand how it works, with scotches and any sort of aromatic barrel-aged thing, the purists will drink it neat. The people that want to explore the scotch to the most will put a single ice cube in there. The water actually lets the aromatics release, and it softens the flavor a little bit. Call it unlocking the scotch. So if someone asks you if you like a single cube, they know what's going on.
So very interesting. It's so good to know.
Well,
So
right.
if you ask a scotch on the rocks, then you really look like you're
Not,
an
no,
amateur?
not necessarily. That's a style thing. You know, I will drink a neat scotch every once in a while, but sometimes
Sure.
it's too much, and as it softens in the water, that's okay.
So will you have more than one ice cube with it?
Normally, if I'm neat, I'll go one ice cube.
Just one ice cube.
If I'm on the
That's
rocks,
really good
then
to know,
just
though.
over the rocks.
You know, I think there are a lot of very savvy New York bartenders, and when you ask for more than one rock, I think they automatically get it, you know. That's really interesting information.
Yeah. Good. So, and then we have the cigars over here. I'm not going to go into each one of those because we could spend hours. But basically, we have with cigars, you're looking at different shapes, different sizes, different thickness or ring gauges. All of them kind of reflect the flavor just by the size. A long, thin cigar will typically start off very light, but because you're drawing through itself a lot more than a wider gauge where it spreads out, it tends to get fuller bodied faster. So you can start off with a light, thin one and enjoy it, but then towards the end it's going to get warm. Thicker gauge, it allows it to be more mellow because you're not drawing it through itself. And then the rest of it is how it's filled and how it's wrapped. A lot of the aroma and flavor comes from the wrapper of the cigar, where it's grown, how much sun it's got, how long they age it. They'll actually age these in barns and let them ferment. And then the filler just dictates all the rest in between. So lots of different things. I brought this over. This is something that our guests have a lot of fun with. I was just talking to you about this before. This is our flight book. So what we do is I've taken a lot of neat products and taken them so that you can try a sample of each in three things right next to each other. So for instance, with Scotch, I took the components that make up what Scotch is. So you have what I call a malt tasting, a peat tasting, a barrel tasting, and an age. So with the malt, you have people that are known for what they do with the grain. With the peat tasting, you have different levels of how much smoke interaction there is. With the barrel tasting, when they age the Scotch, sometimes they put it in old port barrels, old Burgundy barrels, and it gives a different flavor to it. And then age is simply how long it's laid down in the barrels, how that affects the flavor. So you get a little 1 ounce pour of each, and sit down on a couch and spend some time. So there's Scotch, there's Cognac, American bourbon, Italian Amaro digestives, tequila, and mezcal without the worm, ports and tawny ports, and dessert wines. So people will sit at the bar and chat with Max and sip on these things.